Hello and welcome to another edition of Bomb3r's Blitz on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm having some headphone issues. I can hear the music, but at points it cuts out. So if you guys lose track of me, I'm talking and you can't hear me anymore, put your hand up in the comments, let me know. And I can always switch to just the monitor and microphone. I appreciate everybody being here with us tonight. This is the Bomb3r's Blitz on College Football Mafia channel. I'm your host, and I do everything I can to bring stories and bring attention to things that you guys care about. The off season is always a crapshoot, and this show is another example of how you're not sure what story is going to be the biggest one of the day. When you do a live show once a week, in our case, we usually do one on Tuesday, one on Friday, we're able to find pigeonhole ideas that we put into show ideas, and then we'll go to set the show up, and next thing you know, the dynamics have changed. The story has turned into something that it wasn't, and it's very frequently that all the time. And so if you guys come to our shows and you're expecting one outcome or one storyline, and then we end up talking about something else, don't take it personally. It's not like we're trying to steer you guys down some sort of primrose path to get away from something we didn't want to cover. It usually has to do something with the stories have changed. And one of those things that have, I don't know, changed, but certainly have gotten real funky, are the story around the Sacramento State valuations, the media valuations, and how Sacramento State is going to impact the Mid-America Conference, the MAC, what value it's not only going to bring to the MAC, but also what can the school look forward to getting back from their relationship. It's a story that started off as one thing yesterday, moved to another thing, saying maybe the numbers that were put out were wrong. And then today it comes out and the people who put out the original numbers have said, no, wait, the numbers are fine. We didn't quite understand what we were doing. I don't know. I don't know where that story is going to or coming from. It's not like anybody was forcing them to say anything. Dr. Luke Wood, who's the president of the University of Sacramento State, he seems like he's been a pretty straightforward guy. He's been pushing hard to get Sacramento State into an FBS league. Nothing wrong with that. He hasn't done anything wrong. I've tried to get him on the show several times. I know he's a super busy guy. C'est la vie, whatever. But there were some valuations that came out that I just quickly thought I'd run through a couple tweets and see if you guys can make hide or hair or hide or tail out of the storyline, and maybe between the two of us we can get that figured out. And then the story that I really want to hit on is the latest from the College Sports Commission, the valuations, the NIL, NIL Go, Deloitte. How much is a player supposed to be worth out on the open market for NIL rights? And what can a school pay for or not pay for? We went from everybody saying zero tolerance to no rules were being enforced at all to now they're trying to bring it back in and under some sort of an envelope. I don't understand what they're trying to do. So I'm going to read through a few tweets that will try to set the table for that. And then we'll get to call-ins. We're going to go about an hour and 15 minutes today. So I encourage you to be front-loading your comments and questions. And make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and then get involved in our little subculture of the College Football Mafia family. And get involved. Leave us comments or questions. Send us DMs. Let us know kind of what is important to you, storylines that you would like us to cover. And we try to cover those as those storylines mature and get better, as we get more information around them. And that's kind of where we are. Last week, I was sick all week. It was really, really bad. I had a cold that lasted almost 2 weeks. And when you say cold, people think, it's not like you're throwing up or you're doing any of these other things. It was extremely uncomfortable, really, really painful. Sinusitis, stuff like that. And so if you have any ability to avoid people that might be getting sick, i.e. you have children, try to secure yourself from those children. No, I'm teasing. You shouldn't do that. You should always take care of your kids. But if there's any way you can, try to keep yourself out of the mix on getting a cold, because whatever's going around right now is quite nasty. All right. I appreciate everybody for being here tonight. If you want to leave a comment or question, just hit the comments box and I'll try to read those comments. I do defer and read all super chats. So if you want to make a super chat or you want to become a new member of the College Football Mafia family, hit the little dollar bill picture next to the comment box. And we love those super chats around here. It helps us keep the lights on and helps us keep it moving down the road, which is what we're trying to do all the time and getting bigger and better. And I think we're doing some good work. Got a bunch of special feature videos that have come out in the last several weeks that have been fantastic. And I just want to encourage everybody to get involved now. If you're watching me right now for the first time, leave a comment or question if you're watching on an X, for instance, those comments will show up in front of me. I will see those and I'll try to read them if I see them. Most of the time I'm seeing YouTube comments. But if you're on X, do me a favor at some point in the show, jump over and open a window on your browser. Go to College Football Mafia on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Obviously, subscribe is what gives us our day-to-day numbers. But then you can hit the join button and become a new member of the College Football Mafia family. And we obviously appreciate those when we can get them. Okay, so before I get to comments and questions, till I jump into the two storylines that I wanted to talk about tonight, let's do a quick shout out. I missed everybody last Tuesday, so if I missed you from last week, I'll try to shout you out right now. How about that? Buckshot Kid in the house, valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, saying, "Oh, hey, Bomber, good to see you, Buckshot Kid. Thank you so much for being here tonight, man." Joaquin Morales. That would be the Arizona State Sun Devils in the house. Hey, Bomber and College Football Mafia family. Go Devils. Good to have you here, Joaquin. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here tonight. Stephen Vitt checking in, representing the Mid-America Conference and Ohio University Bobcats. As a MAC fan, I just hope this deal with Sac State works out for everybody and isn't just a cash grab without a long-term plan in place. I mean, it's gotta, if you go by the amount of money they're paying the Mid-America Conference to join, it's not an insignificant amount. It's many millions of dollars. Where is that money coming from? I don't know. Only Sac State knows. But certainly the Mid-America Conference would not want Sac State to join and then to just disappear. To instead of continuing to grow, becoming less than, that would take away legitimacy from the Mid-America Conference, and it would only hurt the already existing members. So hopefully they can get whatever it is, they can get it sorted out, and they can be playing football here relatively soon. Daniel Gygax helped me out by covering for me on Friday. I appreciate that, Daniel. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here this evening. He says, "Hi, Nate. Good to have you here." I watched the show on Sunday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I watched the show and you guys did a good job. So hats off to the boys on Friday night. They did a great job. John Dry in the house. Good to see you, John. Hey, y'all. Good to have you here, John. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Evil Badger, Ryan Willie checking in. Good to see you, Ryan. Hi, College Football Mafia. Good to see you. Evil Badger representing the Wisconsin Badgerites in the house. Good to have you here. Fergie, FF18 Buffs. So, Sco Buffs. Glad to hear you're better, Bomber. Buffs to SEC. Sure, why not? There's no reason you can't cheer for your favorite school to get into a better conference, for sure. Clint Moses representing the Oregon State Beavers in the house saying Richland Bomber boys basketball has a real shot at winning state after I seen them beat Gonzaga Prep. Did you watch that game, Clint? I watched that game too. Yes. Richland is really good. They're 24-0. They're ranked in the top 20 in the country. They have they're a top 5 scoring offense. They average over 95 points a game. They were held to a little bit less than that by Gonzaga last week. We'll have to see. They play Friday night this week, and we'll have to see how that goes. But yes, Richland Bomber boys basketball looking to get that 4th state championship. So we'll have to see how that goes. Thanks for sharing or calling that out, Clint. You know, I always love saying that. Big Lubbock, first in my heart, representing Texas Tech Red Raiders, valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. The CSC needs to go after the SEC and Miami. Yeah, I mean, so I'll get into that here in just a little bit. And let's see what you guys are reading into what I'm reading into these comments from them. Just saying we want more enforcement, that by itself isn't anything. It means it could be arbitrary enforcement. It doesn't mean it's uniform. And it's ripe for corruption. So we will talk about that in a little bit, but certainly, yeah, we'll have to talk about it. SEC and Miami, Texas Tech. Anybody who's spending money right now is probably going to be high on their hit list. BYU spends money. We'll just have to see. For sure. Time will tell. He also says the Longhorns are whiners. So that state of Texas stuff, that's pretty funny. Let's see here. Numbskull News, Utah rant was spot on. I don't know that link. Do you have that link to that X post, Lubbock? Give it to me. I'd love to see it. Anytime anybody's talking about rant and you have Utah in it, I'm into that. Unless it's a good rant, then I'm not into that. I'm just teasing everybody. Big Bulldog Mississippi in the house has become a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, somebody who's become OG in a very short amount of time. I believe Bulldog Mississippi is working on some stuff for people to be displaying on our team. I'm looking forward to some of the stuff that he's working on. Sac Mac or Mac Sac? Yeah, I don't know. Mid-America Conference, Sacramento State, Mid-America Conference. Yeah, I'm not sure. Whichever that's supposed to be, for sure. Let's see here. Jan Holt checking in. Jan, all the way from Slovenia, representing the Fighting Blue Hens of Slovenia. No, I don't know if that's the case, but I appreciate seeing Jan. Hope you're doing well, Jan, and hopefully things are going well for you in Slovenia. It's hard to keep track of all the Eastern Europe stuff, so keep us up to date on how things are going, would you? Hey, y'all, he says. Good to have you here. Bulldog Mississippi giving one gifted membership to a new member of the College Football Mafia family. That would be, Fearfully Confident 2333. Fearfully Confident 2333. And we will get some... We'll do that one more time. Thank you so much for confident. Make sure you make sure you thank Bulldog Mississippi for giving that new membership to you. You have all the rights and privileges associated with becoming a new member of the College Football Mafia family. And I would tell you, just after this show's over tonight, go into our video library, and you can watch all of our member videos. And there's some really, really good ones in there that have to do with realignment, have to do with NIL, have to do with recruiting. Pretty much all that goes into college football. We have member videos, and you now have access to those for a month. But please thank Bulldog Mississippi for getting that over to you. That's really cool of him to do that. And I thank Bulldog Mississippi as well. All right. Let's get to some more comments here. One more from Bulldog Mississippi, and then I'm going to get right into the CSC tweet. Yeah, so Bulldog Mississippi says, yeah, it should be ready in about a week, Nate. Excellent. I can't wait. Bulldog. I really can't. I'm super excited about it and can't wait to show whatever you send me proudly behind me. I definitely am looking forward to that. And thank you very much for giving that new membership again. Fearfully Confident. Make sure you thank Bulldog Mississippi in the chat. Just say thank you, Bulldog Mississippi, and it's always cool. And then if you receive a new membership or have received a new membership in the recent past, consider paying it forward, giving somebody else a new membership. Keep that karma thing going, and I guarantee you it'll pay off. Your unselfishness will always be rewarded. So thank you so much for all of those things. I appreciate everybody being here early to give me comments to get the show started. We're 15 minutes in, so I'm going to jump right into this story that came. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, before I can do that, I get to Ryan Willie, Evil Badger, $5 super chat. Ryan's also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate you. I will also give you with Wisconsin becoming the 33rd state to fund debt maintenance, how long before every state does debt maintenance, aka NIL? That's a great question. It is states are now underwriting athletic departments. Let's be very clear, because I've used similar words, but a little bit different. Shifting the words around a little bit different, Ryan, and the fact that I say that schools are debt spending. Universities across the United States are debt spending for their athletic departments. I'm not saying it goes to NIL. No, what they're taking money that's going to debt spending to keep their athletic department going, and they're offsetting those amounts that normally used to come from booster dollars, and they're now taking those booster dollars, putting them into NIL spending. So I guess you could say it's basically the same thing, but it's not, strictly speaking. Debt maintenance, and I haven't had anybody convince me otherwise. State schools that continue to debt spend, and there was another report that came out. I can't remember, was it? I don't think I brought it up. Was it Florida State? Got all these state schools that are debt spending into the tens of millions of dollars. At what point, if you're a fan of that school and that state, are you saying no more? I don't want any more of my legislature money to underwrite athletics at state school X. I can't make up. Everybody's going to have their own limit on that. Everybody's going to have their own Rubicon that they're not willing to cross. Right now, it's a fact that almost every state has state schools that are debt spending for their athletic departments to be relevant. And that being the case, that means that any money that they put into their programs, now they have monies that are coming from so many different so much different origination locations, that it's hard to track down where that money's actually going to, and then how it hits your bottom line for your, let's say it's your state income tax, or it might be the money that you spend in your property taxes. I'm not sure where the money's coming from, but these state legislatures are underwriting these state schools by letting them go into debt every year. And they're doing this now year after year. It's not just a one-time event. They're doing it year after year. Ryan, what's your limit? Right? I have a dog in the fight. In Utah, I would prefer state legislature dollars did not underwrite University of Utah athletics. I'm happy to say that out loud. Because why? Because I'm a fan of BYU. I'm not gonna be duplicitous and say that there's not a reason for that. Why should my tax dollars go to underwrite a athletic department that I don't support? Every person, Ryan, Daniel, every person has to make up their own mind where that line is. My line and Ute's line are going to be in two different places, right? But I'm open and honest enough about saying, yeah, I have an axe to grind, just as Ute does. Every state's going to have these challenges, and how they handle it and at what point they scream uncle and we're not going to do it anymore. Every state has to answer on their own. So thanks for bringing that up, Ryan, though. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to clarify, because there is a difference. The money isn't going in, from what I'm saying, the money's not going to NIL spending. The money is going to just keep the athletic department viable. They can now spend almost bottomless amounts of money to underwrite their athletic department, and they don't have to take now booster money and put it into operations. They can put that straight into NIL spending. So good question, though. Good comment. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you. Thanks for putting that up there. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Dave's here is in the house. Debt in athletic isn't the same as saying the start is paying it. Debt in athletic isn't the same as saying the start is paying it. State is paying it. It really is. If the legislature is underwriting the athletic department, let's give you a great example. The state of Arizona, Dave, over the period of 2 different years, underwrote the state of, Arizona State and the University of Arizona athletic departments and cashed them out, brought them back to zero again. And they were upside down almost $52 million between the two athletic departments. That the state legislature zeroed out those costs. Said, we're going to pay off that debt for you. So in that case, it is coming directly from the state legislature. Now, are there circumstances where it's not coming from? Yes, obviously that's possible. But it is happening. I'm not saying in every circumstance it's happening. I'm saying it's becoming quite prevalent. So when state legislatures basically go to an athletic board of trustees meeting and said, you know what, we're going to pay off your debts, wherever those debts are generated, for your operations, so you no longer are necessarily running at a deficit, that is debt spending. And the legislature is paying for that. Okay. All right. First one I'm going to get to is this CSC scorched earth. And rather than me paraphrasing what it is, I will just read what it is. So let me post the link. The original tweet came from Ross Dellinger. The original tweet came from Ross Dellinger, and it said, in a memo sent today to NCAA schools, this was today, Vice President of Enforcement John Duncan announces that the Division I Board of Directors has charged the staff to pursue significant penalties for tampering violations, while also more publicly announcing cases and reminded schools about the tampering bylaw. Communications of any kind are not permitted with a student athlete at another school or any other representatives of their interests, including agents, before that student athlete enters the NCAA transfer portal. If a coach is contacted by an agent of a student athlete who is not in the transfer portal, any further continuation of that discussion is considered a rules violation. That includes a coach or a booster expressing interest in or suggesting the possibility of a roster spot opening for a student athlete should the individual enter the transfer portal. So we all know that the NCAA's had almost no enforcement ability recently, right? And the CSC came out and said, we're going to have a zero tolerance. We're going to send out letters telling people zero tolerance. You can't be spending money that isn't there. And you can't be giving it to people to join your school if they haven't entered the transfer portal. And now the NCAA is saying, we're going to enforce transfer portal violations if it has to do with pursue significant penalties if you're going through and you're dealing with tampering, and the CSC then will reinforce where the money is coming through to pay for those penalties and costs. Are you guys okay with that? I mean, the NCAA coming out and say it's going to enforce tampering. The CSC is the only thing that's really been enforcing, and they've been doing it because there's money involved. And now the NCAA is saying, on top of all those things, we're going to, what's the quote? The quote is, pursue significant penalties. What do you guys think about that? If you're a school, let's say you're Clemson, and you're accusing Ole Miss of tampering, but the only way Ole Miss can tamper is because they are spending money that is running through supposed to run through the CSC and NIL payments. Where does the story end and begin there? It's very, very difficult to see where the story starts and where the story ends, because it's a circle. You can't have one without the other, and you can't have the one without the other, and it all starts over again, and you don't have anything if you don't have money. So do you guys think anything is going to come of these charges? They're going to be enforced with tampering? Do you think the CSC is the only body that's going to try to enforce additional recruiting rules and violations to make themselves relevant? You all know I've been very critical of the way the NCAA has run enforcement. I've been very critical of how the CSC has, it seems like, done selective enforcement of NIL deals. What do we do? How do we disentangle all these storylines? Is the NCAA really just enforcing tampering? I don't know. I'll read Darren Heitner's follow-up tweet here in just a second, but I do got a super chat that came in from Moen After Dark. Good to see you, Moen. $5 super chat. But what about the third-party tax revenue provided by college athletic events, the bars, restaurants, hotels, transportation, etc.? There is obviously revenue that comes in from those things, and every college town is going to have different levels of tax and sped support there. Moen, you're exactly right. It does come in to the local economy, but is it enough to offset whatever the bailout amount is? You and I can't decide that, because we would have to go, we'd have to take out individual instances and say, this paid for itself, this didn't. This paid for itself, this didn't. I'm purely talking about these cost overruns that are being put through athletic departments. That it used to be athletic departments weren't made to make money, but they weren't made to lose money either. And now annually, these big programs are debt spending, state programs, I should say. And the only way they're going to get that money back is they either have to raise local taxes, or they're going to have to get it from the legislature for the state. There might be other mechanics to get money in there, Moen. And every school can make up their own mind. In Ohio, at Ohio State, I have a pretty good idea that you would be willing to pay whatever the tax was to win another national championship. And maybe that's what everybody says in every state. But if that's the case, they need to come out and announce it. They need to be very clear with the public, saying, yes, we admit that we are bailing out our athletic department every year, but we're doing that so we can win a national championship, and be out open and honest about it. Instead of just saying you have these major shortfalls, and at the end of every year, beginning of the next budget year, you say, we're just going to pay that debt off and go to the next year So everybody has to make up their own mind on that moment. I'm not saying you can't value it one way or another at all. Every person has to make up their own mind, and every state has to make up their own mind. All I'm saying is the state that I live in, I would prefer that that wasn't happening in. Hasn't made a difference so far, so I don't know why it should make a difference now. But that's my opinion on it this second. Good comment, though, Moen. Very good comment. Let me get to Darren Heitner is chasing this story down a little bit farther. And I'm just going to read this here. The NCAA should consider its approach to pursue significant penalties for tampering violations. It has no good options. And then these are the options. Selectively punish a handful of schools to make an example. I think that's more than likely going to happen. Number 2, go scorched earth on every power conference program, none of which are clean. And that could happen too. Or quietly let the status quo continue. That is the only realistic outcome. I agree with Darren. I think the third one is probably going to be the most likely, because who wants to be selectively put it this way, any punishment that comes through because of this tampering stuff, any punishment that comes through the CSC for paying players that's above and beyond what they're supposed to be paying NIL amounts, those are lawsuits waiting to happen if a school or an individual is ruled against. We've already seen it with a bunch of other rules that have come along that people are like, I don't want to worry about enforcing that. We're going to enforce it, but we're going to keep it all behind a black box, so you won't know actually what was enforced and what wasn't. That very, very well could become the norm. I personally believe it's probably going to be maybe a mix of all three of these, but if I had to guess, it's going to be number 3. Could be wrong. But he continues, NFL agents and teams are constantly talking before the legal tampering window opens. The NFL tolerates it because the alternative, punishing everybody, would be far worse than looking the other way. The NCAA is in the same boat. The tampering is so widespread that meaningful enforcement would implicate nearly every major program. Selectively going after a few schools would be arbitrary and invite legal challenges. The NCAA already knows how that goes. Going after all violators would cause the whole association to crumble. And I would just put on top of that, I think the whole system would buckle if you went to enforce it on everybody. Possible they could go that route, but I don't think so. I think the problem is so prevalent. That's why it hasn't been done up to now. That's why tampering has been a joke for 30 years. It's always been a rule. You can't tamper, and yet it hasn't been enforced. Why hasn't it been enforced? Because it's almost impossible to enforce it. Who are you going to charge? Invariably, it's going to be like a Central Florida will get hit and not an Alabama. Invariably, it'll be a Villanova will get hit and not Penn State. In general, the smaller schools have paid a higher price than the schools that don't have as much flash in the pan. So I don't know. These stories they write themselves. I'm not writing them. I'm reporting to you guys, but I'm really curious what you guys think about how these things are being manipulated and used. In my opinion, if it's selectively done or if they go scorched earth, it'll be almost impossible for it to be enforced because they will be in lawsuit hell. So is this something that for a short amount of time gets a lot of publicity and then we don't hear about again? Yes, that's a high likelihood we could be in that case. Yeah, that could happen. Anyway, so yeah, tampering, severe penalties. We'll have to see. Pursue significant penalties. We'll have to see where that goes. The CSC enforcement of the NIL charges. Some football is starting to leak out, but we haven't had the one big dump of news where five of the top 20 brands get hit with CSC charges for overpaying NIL to players. That still hasn't happened. And from the day it was announced, that was one of the enforcement mechanisms. I said it would probably never be enforced. And I still believe that. I still believe that's where we will end up. All right. So let's see. We've gone through those. Let's quickly touch on this story with Sacramento State. And then I want to get to you guys' calls tonight, and I can't go super late. So I will drop this story, and then if you guys want to talk more about this, I'm happy to do it. The reason I didn't lead with this story, even though I think it's a big story, is because last night this report came out that the valuation that Sacramento State received was an extrapolation of a number that really didn't live in the real world. Like, it was overestimated how much money and impact they would be getting. I'm going to quickly bring up, this is the original story that came out yesterday. And like I said, I was going to dive into this, but I get concerned because today they unwound all this. The company that came out and gave that valuation, first they took it back and said, no, we didn't really give that extrapolation amount out. And then today, later in the day, it said, yeah, it did. It was a proper extrapolation of the data that they provided. I don't know who to believe anymore. Do I believe the vendor that is the original company they went to get a media valuation for the school and the MAC? Sure, maybe. I don't know if that's the case. Should I listen to them? Should I listen to the conference? Because the conference has come out and said, well, it's going off of this valuation and this value. I don't know what to do with this news. And in fact, I so don't know what to do with it that I almost think the whole point is it's disinformation. Like, they're doing this just to put gray area in so nobody can be held to account. David Cavucci says, it's funny the firm behind this study is defending their numbers because I just got back a full report from another school and their entire methodology is based on a LinkedIn blog post they found. Really? I mean, is that how we're coming up with these hundreds of millions of dollars media valuations? So I don't know, guys. I don't know what to make of it. I think it's easy to pile on. I was critical in the fact that it wasn't a very transparent process to me. Hadn't been made transparent. I don't know what to make of the Sac State news. So I'm going to open up the phone lines, and I want to hear from you guys and what you guys took from it. I'm going to post the link to this Richard Johnson tweet so you guys can read it yourself. And then I'd love to hear your feedback. Stephen Vitt, you can call in. I don't know what to make from it, guys. I really don't. Is it true? Is it not true? What do you guys think about it? And why do you think it got so muddied today? It went from clear to not clear to clear again. I don't know if it is or not. So rather than beat that up, I'm gonna choose to not participate. And if you guys want to talk about the Sac State stuff, I'm happy to talk about it. Daniel, I know, has information on it. Maybe Stephen has some information. Daniel's very intimately connected with some of the news coming out of Sacramento State. So maybe he has some intelligence he can add. But when you take the valuation and it's from $165 million and you say the valuation that the media impact is actually close to $1 billion that it's going to bring by being in this FBS division at the Mid-America Conference, that's a huge amount different, right? So who should we believe? There's the articles. I posted them. You guys can share them. I'm going to right now open up the phone lines, and you guys can call in right now. So call in and let's talk. I want to hear from you guys. I did not start the show tonight to just hear myself talk. I want to hear from you. The phone lines are now open. 801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. I'd love to hear from you. Let's talk. And I want to get your opinions about this stuff, because where we're at right now is pretty crazy. Very, very crazy. Some of the news that's come out. NIL, the College Sports Commission, the media evaluations for Sacramento State, and then enforcement for tampering. All right, here we go.
Call from
Daniel.
Daniel V. Gygax. How you doing, brother?
Good. You're also missing that we need to hype you and Chris Lambert's video they did talking about CSC and NIL evaluations that they put up yesterday. Please watch that after the show.
If you get to it, post the link, Daniel, if you wouldn't mind after. Yeah.
I will do that.
Okay, so tell us what you think.
Here's the thing with first with the CSC, there's a lot of schools that haven't signed on to the CSC agreement, and I understand, because they're looking at it as, why are we letting a third party dictate what we think is a value for our NIL? I get it. I understand.
Okay.
Now, Sacramento State, and I think I brought this up to you. Yeah, I did. Sacramento State moving up to FBS would be the equivalent of Weber State there in Utah moving up to FBS. Okay. They are primarily a commuter school that they do a good job of what they need to do for education. The problem is that unlike there in Utah, the whole CSU system in California is broke. And whenever you sit there and say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to spend, like the original, we're going to spend $200 million to rebuild Hornet Stadium in Sacramento, everybody's like, okay, with what money?
Okay.
There's another fascinating video. I'll put a link to that in the description, in the chat too. Talking about Sacramento State it's called Cal Expo, the California Expedition Center.
Okay.
It's where the state fair is at.
Okay.
Sac State is talking about building a football stadium there. The Cal Expo board has never spent money, and Sacramento State doesn't have it. So everybody's scratching their head out here wondering, what is going on that you're talking to the cheapest bunch of people in the state of California to people that don't have big wallets? I'm still trying to figure out where they're getting $23 million to move to the MAC.
In a one-time payment.
And a one-time payment, yes.
Yeah.
And they can't use student fees for this. The only thing that they're allowed to use student fees for is for things actually physically on the campus there, right there off of Watt Avenue there in Sacramento.
Okay.
To let you know, I've taken classes out of Sac State, so
okay.
I'm familiar with where the campus is.
Okay.
But now we're talking about, will all this blow up and how it will blow up? Unlike North Dakota State, who has their dome built, they have money available.
They have oil
on the other
fracking
side of the
money.
country, they don't. Huh?
Yeah. They have oil fracking money. North Dakota State does. Yeah.
And North Dakota. You ever see North Dakota sitting on a pile of cash?
Okay.
They probably have the nicest hockey arena in Division I. I mean, I've seen pictures. I've never been up there, but I've seen pictures of it. it looks like an NHL arena.
Okay.
But now you might end up sticking the taxpayers with this debt. And state of California, the last time any arena or stadium was built or renovated using taxpayer dollars was the Oakland Arena and Oakland Coliseum.
Okay.
Because the state of California, the way that it's set up is that to build infrastructure like that, that's the reason why a lot of people want to just a lot of these teams have up and left. Because if they're trying to build something like an arena, municipalities can't cut that big fat check like you would in other places.
Okay.
That's the reason why the Chargers had to move up, and that stadium that you have in Inglewood is built with private money. Where the Clippers play at right there in Inglewood was built with private money. Staples Center was built with private money. The ballpark that you have in San Francisco, where the Super Bowl was just at in Santa Clara, outside of San Jose, that was built with private money because they have to come up with ways to do it. Now, there are tax breaks, like they're not paying a single penny in property tax. They get to keep all the this, but they can't get direct money from municipalities.
Okay. So I guess this is the question people are going to ask, Daniel, not being part of the California system like you've been forever. Is this something that you believe the previous reporting that was originally given yesterday and overnight, or do you believe this sort of revisionist stuff that came out later in the day today saying, oh no, we actually do stand behind those numbers? Where is the story for real?
I need to find it again. And I know I shared it with the group from the Sacramento Bee, and it was a breakdown of ticket revenue numbers. It was a breakdown of everything that was being reported out from Sacramento State Athletics, how much they were making.
Okay.
Even if you 10 times that number, you're still not touching that number that came out from that group, because you're looking at $200 million a year is what that group is saying in like publicity, this, that, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it was like 165 or 170, something like that. Yeah.
It was 965 over 5 years. That number does not make sense. That number just does not make sense at all. So I am going to let you see if you can get Steve Vitt on, because I know that he probably has a different take than what I do, because he is there in Ohio and cheers for the Ohio Bobcats, and I'm just a guy that lives here 60 miles from Sacramento and 20 miles from Berkeley. So.
Okay. Thanks so much for calling in, and thanks for covering for me last week, Daniel. I really appreciate it.
And anytime you need me, Nate, just get a hold of me. I'll cover for you.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Have a great night. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Daniel, the Gygax in the house. I appreciate him. Phone lines are open, 801-899-6203. If you want to call in right now, let's talk about Sacramento State's value and what you guys think it really is. Is it the bigger number? Is it the smaller number? Or is it somewhere in between? Boy, I am just fascinated by you guys' opinions. Everybody's got one. And I just love hearing from you guys so much. I will do a quick shout out to Trent Brown, my brother's namesake. He and I will be going to the BYU UCF basketball game tonight. So that's part of the reason why I'm only going to go another half hour. So if you need a reason why I'm going to be leaving a little bit early, it's because I'm going to go to that BYU game. All right, let's keep going. Stephen Vitt, call in right now, 801-899-6203. And let's talk. Tell me what you think from the Mid-America Conference standpoint. It makes a huge difference through what prism you are looking at this news. If you're a Mid-America guy, you're anxiously holding your breath, but you hope they bring that type of media value. They hope they can promote your conference. If you're somebody who likes to make fun of Sacramento State, you're going to go on the other side and say that you think they sort of made up those numbers and they don't have much value at the end of the day. Well, waiting for people to call in. You can call in right now, 801-899-6203. I will get to some more comments that I have marked because you guys are awesome. And I want to get to the good shout outs you guys have got going tonight. In the meantime, you can call me right now, 801-899-6203. Okay, Tom Dubay. Good to see you here, Tom. Thanks for being here tonight on a Tuesday. This Sacramento State effort makes San Diego State University look like they have their stuff together. Boy, isn't that's true. If you'd really have to work hard to make San Diego State look good. They killed themselves year after year after year. Now, maybe they've turned a corner with the Pac-12, but for a long time, San Diego State has been killing themselves. We'll have to see. Time will tell. Larry, the GM, always coming in off the top rope, representing the SEC and the University of Texas Longhorns. The players have no representative body, but they agree to play college football individually, and therefore they are agreeing to the college football framework. It's a good point, Larry. It is an at-will thing. You don't have a right to play college football. It's an invitation thing. So you could be, I don't disagree with what you're saying here. I don't have a dog in the hunt. But I will say this, that while there might not be something that they can control, they do sort of, it is a two-way street. The schools are winning national championships because they need the players. So as much as the players need the schools need the players. And I would add on top of that in that power dynamic, the schools have the power, not the athletes. So I'm a believer in a CBA for athletes. I don't know what that thing will look like. I'm not saying it's perfect right now as an idea, but that's where I think we should be.
Call from
Stephen Vitt.
Stephen the Vitt, how you doing, man?
Hey, Bomber, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing tonight?
Had a long day. A little bit tired, but just wanted to call in real fast.
Please do. Yeah. Tell me what are you thinking? Did you see all those reports in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, very limited, but yeah, I've seen some of those reports.
And what are your thoughts?
First thought that comes to my mind, Bomber, is just that I don't think the numbers are accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't. There's just something there it feels like something's missing when the reports are being made about, oh, it's this amount or that amount, or we estimate that's this. Just something there that's just not right.
And do you think it hurts the MAC at all? Or do you think this is just a purely Sacramento State story, and whatever happens with the MAC, you guys can't be much worse off than you already are, right?
Well, I mean, for starters, Sac State, whatever they're doing it to themselves, first and foremost. But just coming from the standpoint of the MAC, the Mid-American Conference, I am really hoping that MAC leadership knows what they're doing, getting into this deal with Sacramento State. I'm not condemning the move. I'm not going to do that. I am taking more of a wait and see approach to this to see if something good comes out of it. And I hope something does come out of it that's really good, but I'm very skeptical. I'm being honest with you, Bomber.
And at the end of the day, how does Ohio look at this? You guys only have to deal with Sacramento State as often as you have to travel for football games. Other than that, you guys shouldn't see a huge difference in the way you live your lives. Do you care? At the end of the day, I would think you'd want to cash that check from Sacramento State at the very least, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I understand. First off, I understand why the MAC did what they did. They took the money. I mean, it's impossible to say no to that $18 million. So I understand why the MAC did it on their part. I mean, it'd be impossible to say no to that kind of money. So I get that part. But I'm just saying, is there a long-term plan in place? That is what I said most recently in like a recent episode of Bobcat Corner on my channel.
Right.
It's like, taking the money is, it can be all well and good at the start. But if you don't have a long-term plan in place years down the road, then what good really will that money be? And that's why I think many people are not seeing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I agree with you. I think that's okay. Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best when it comes to this deal with Sacramento State, but I'm very skeptical. It's just going to be 4 games, a 4-game thing, for traveling out to Sacramento. So it's in that context, it's not a big deal as far as travel goes.
Okay. But
I'm just hoping there's something else attached to this and not just a cash grab and nothing else, because that's what it feels like to me right now. I'm hoping I'm wrong about that.
It does kind of have that feeling, doesn't it? Unfortunately.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I wish it didn't. Look, I've been cheerleading for Sacramento State to move up if they have the capacity to move up. But I'm not at all in support of them moving up if they're just sort of imagining numbers to make it work.
Right. And that's the part that I just don't like. It's like, okay, if you do have accurate numbers, if you do have accurate reporting about, your estimates and what you think your school is going to bring as far as value goes, then fine. There's nothing wrong with reporting that. But if you're just making numbers up out of thin air, then there's a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on your channel right now?
Oh, I've just been continuing to make content for my channel, STV Castle. That's the name of the channel. And still doing interviews and still doing Bobcat Corner. Added a co-host, by the way, another Bobcat.
Yay!
His name is Mike Coleman. He's one of the co-founders of BobcatAttack.com.
Okay.
Not for every single episode, but for most episodes going forward, it's going to be a joint effort between me and him, Mike. So stay tuned for that. More episodes featuring both me and Mike.
Well, congratulations. That's exciting.
Yep.
All right.
Trying to expand my horizon.
You're doing the right thing. All you can do is add more content that's smart. And it sounds to me like you're doing it the right way. Thank you so much, Stephen. Appreciate you joining me tonight.
All right. Thanks, Bomber.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
You bet. Always. We'll see you later.
All right. Take care.
All right. Stephen Vitt joining the show. Bobcat Corner on YouTube. Check him out. The Ohio Bobcats covering the Mid-America Conference. Great content. I would tell everybody to go check out his show. He has some really good stuff there. And take the time if you've got it. That opens the phone line, 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. What else is on your mind? It doesn't have to be Sacramento State. It could be the CSC NIL valuations, or it could be the tampering rule. While I'm waiting for you to call in, I will begin reading backwards through some comments that you guys have made earlier in the channel and in the show. And hopefully you guys will consider joining the channel by calling in right now, 801-899-6203. While we're doing that, let's get to some more comments. Jay Chapman in the house, SEC rep, going. Good to have you here, Jay. I'm not going to believe the Sacramento State PR team. They definitely have an axe to grind. That is true. You can choose to agree or not agree, but they definitely have an agenda. There's no doubt about that, Jay. Let's see here. What do we got? Old Dad. It's been a minute, Old Dad. I haven't seen you for a while. It's good to see you. Go Florida State Seminoles. I'm a huge Florida State Seminoles fan. Old Dad knows that. He's been around here before. It's been a while, but it's good to see him back joining me tonight on our Tuesday night show. So everything I've heard tonight seems to be telling us that just as there is no I in team, there is no college football in integrity. Give that some thought. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, that's harsh. But I think Old Dad's got the story. I think he's got the storyline there. There is no I in team, and I definitely think that right now college football, look, it's a get over whatever you need to do to compete for national championship. It's a zero-sum game, and what Old Dad is saying here is that pretty much everybody needs to make their decision. Are they going to do the integrity move and they're going to represent themselves well and try to stay within the rules, or are you going to push the envelope? And if they are going to push the envelope, at what point is that no longer an integrity move? Right? That's a question. Just to say you're breaking the rule, is it really a rule if everybody else is breaking it too? I don't know. It's an open question, I think. But I think Old Dad's got the story right here, and that is that it is something that we would have to watch and pay attention to. Watch and pay attention to long term. What is the price of your integrity? Essentially is what Old Dad's saying here. Good comments. Very smart. Let's see here. Tom Dubay. Another comment from Tom. It's not just about AD operating losses, athletic department operating losses. Athletics brings school and community pride, increased annual applications, donations, etc., and those benefits typically dwarf annual athletic department operating costs. Every school answers that question differently, and every state legislature has to answer that question differently. I'm not saying you're wrong, Tom, but yeah, I think it might be school dependent. All I know is that I'm overtaxed already, and I don't think outside of student fees, and if you want to attend that university, more power to you, but I don't see why I should have to pay for that out of tax revenue. And I'm not saying Utah is doing this because they went and got that financing deal, that private capital. They might not need money to bail them out. I don't know how they're doing that with taxes right now. But if I found out they were doing that and that money was going straight to the bottom line for the athletic department, it would piss me off. What state do you live in? And you insert your rival school here. Where do you feel about that? Or where do you fall in on that argument? I don't know. Everybody's a little different. But that's a good, very smart comment from Tom. Call in right now, 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. We've got about 10 more minutes. I want to cover as many topics as I can, so I'm going to keep reading comments. You guys keep giving me good comments, and I will flag them, try to bring them forward. Otherwise, you make it a super chat. I'll definitely read your comment. Or you can call in 801-899-6203 and tell me what's on your mind, and I'll talk about it right here, right now. Fergie, FF18 Buffs in the house. Fergie's super smart, and he knows his Colorado Buffaloes. Go Buffs. Nathan, I strongly believe that BYU would be fantastic in the SEC. The Southeast U.S., especially Georgia and Florida, have very large Mormon populations. Come with us. Man, I'd love to make that trip with you. Fergie, I would love that. I think BYU would be successful anywhere they went. All I can say is I would love for that to happen. The likelihood it happens maybe higher than what we might normally believe but time will tell. But I would love to go with Colorado to the SEC. I think that would be awesome. If you're going to take the biggest football brand in the state of Utah, you would take BYU. I don't know. Does the SEC come far this far west? I don't know. But it's fun to think about regardless, Fergie. Let's see here. More comments. Stephen Vitt, I have a hard time believing in the numbers. Bomber, yeah, those numbers for Sacramento State were kind of crazy. Bulldog, Mississippi. The enforcement of the short pants rule by the NCAA. Did you guys see that? Did everybody see that? So the last 3 years, players have started shrinking the pants that they have because it's less, frankly, it's less for them to have to worry about people grabbing holding on to, or because they don't really use the pads much anymore, evidently. The pants are just pants, essentially. And the NCAA has come out just recently, last couple of days, said they're going to enforce the pants rule. That's where the NCAA should spend its resources right there, is enforcing the pants rule. I believe that. That's funny, Bulldog, Mississippi. Thank you so much for bringing that up. It's totally true. Shooter, Texas. It's been a minute. Good to have you here, Shooter. Baylor Bear in the house, representing the Big 12 Conference. It seems like the SEC is not highly motivated to expand at this time, especially outside of traditional Southeast region. Too bad for BYU, but I really love having the Cougs in the Big 12. I like being in the Big 12 too, Shooter. Even when I've been frustrated with the Big 12, it's not been from a membership standpoint. I have, from the minute it was announced, I think this is a fantastic conference for BYU to be in. I just think the Big 12 Conference has let BYU down a little bit. But I'm not frustrated with the membership of the Big 12 at all. I think it's been a great conference for BYU to be in it. I'm not anxious to leave the Big 12 Conference. I think all we're trying to do is just secure our place for that next call up in 2030, 31, whenever that happens. Baylor certainly would want to be on that list as well. But just because I would love to be in the SEC doesn't mean I'm trying to escape the Big 12, unlike some schools in the Big 12 are doing. I'm not doing that. I think I got a Big 12 flag up behind me for a reason. I'm happy where I'm at, and I appreciate Shooter and all Baylor Bears that have accepted BYU in the conference. It's been a good fit, and I just want us all to get the call up. How about this? We have a P3. We slice and dice the ACC, and the Big 12 goes to 20 teams. I'd love that. That would help us, Shooter. Help both of us. It's good to see you here tonight. Thanks for being here. And Shooter is a longstanding OG member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Shooter. I really appreciate your time. It's great to see you. Let's see here. Any more comments? Nobody wants to call in and talk tonight, and that's fine. Sometimes you guys are chatty, other times you're not. Tonight, 801-899-6203. Call in. I'll give you one last chance to call in. Give me your opinion. I'd love to hear from you. I love not talking, and I love to hear you guys talk. If you want to do that, that would make my day. Otherwise, I'll read a few more comments, and then I'll get out of here. I don't need to belabor this thing. The stories we covered tonight were enforcement of the. I don't know, guys. I think it's silly. It's silly to talk about tampering. I think it's a silly rule. Nowadays, it has a good spirit behind it. Impossible to enforce, especially in today's social media. So that's where I come down with social media or covering the transfer portal and with tampering. So the NCAA has come out and said, we're going to enforce tampering. Yeah, we'll have to see what that looks like. And then we came out and talked about the CSC and how it enforces their own rules to underwrite the NIL valuations to stop tampering. And then last but not least, Sacramento State valuation. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Nobody can really know. I posted those links earlier, so scroll back in the middle of the show. You can see the links, and you guys can read those articles yourself. I'm curious to hear in the comments what you guys think about those things in the future, though. Where do we end up with Sacramento State And is it tenable what they're trying to do, joining the Mid-America Conference? Few more comments here. Got to run. Watching the SOTU speech. So that's the State of the Union. That would be Donald Trump giving the State of the Union tonight. Love you too, brother. Good. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Shooter. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Time. And I think that's it. I think that's where I'm going to cut it off tonight. You guys have been great. Always. I love hearing from you. Thanks so much for calling in. Daniel, thanks so much for calling in. Who else was Stephen Vitt just called in. Thank you so much for doing that. I want to thank everybody. Make sure I give one last call out. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment or question. Let us know how we're doing around here. We do adjust our shows and ideas to reflect what you guys say. Don't forget to give us those things, because we will change what we do to better support and provide interesting tidbits for you guys in the reporting. And then last but not least, consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. Go to the main College Football Mafia page on YouTube, hit the join button, and you too can become a new member of the College Football Mafia family. So for me and the College Football Mafia family, I'm going to say sign out. Everybody stay out of trouble. Everybody have a good rest of your week. I'm going to say go Cougs for BYU this weekend, tonight. And hopefully I travel to Provo and back safely. Shouldn't be a problem. And then we will see you guys Friday night. Big Freaking Friday show, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I look forward to seeing you all then. Appreciate everything you guys do for us. All the old OG members, all the guys that are paying us subscriptions, and everybody who's giving us super chats and super stickers. Thank you for all that you do for us. I very much appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe, follow on Twitter, and all that fun stuff. You guys stay out of trouble. Have a good night tonight, and we will talk to you soon. Okay, go Cougs. Talk to you later. Peace.